Well, tonight on the podcast, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to talk about your president, Joe Biden. And, when he made the call to a lot of you to vote for him in the last election, you answered that call. And what was his call to you? It was just as simple. We'll remind you of this a lot.
You have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, and you ain't black.
All right. So, a lot of you were black in the last election. Yes, we're going to be playing that a lot because you need to be reminded of the disrespect this man has had towards you. Now, we have shown in the last podcast that Joe Biden was the man that authored not only the crime bill, but he relished in putting black people in prison, ushering in mass incarceration when we had the crack epidemic going on in our community. I remember that very, very well. And how families were broken apart due to this. Not only people that were on the drug, but even if you was around it, it was in the house with you, they were just grabbing everybody like they always do to black people. When you talk about the single parenting issue, it didn't really get jumped off until after that crack epidemic and Joe Biden's crime bill that Bill Clinton, Democrat, has signed. So last night, we talked about how Biden has been allowing everyone else who doesn't look like me and you to come into this country from Latin America, the Ukraine, because, yes, you have a lot of Ukrainians that's been imported over here, too. You just may not recognize them because they are Caucasian, right? But when the Haitians showed up at the border, it was a fiasco. All of a sudden, Biden started to want to get them on out of here. Well, Biden has silently continue with his racism because he's always been a racist. There's nothing that's changed with him. And we want to talk about his aggressive deportation of Haitians. Now, the Biden administration has been conducting, a deportation flight to Haiti on Thursday, a day after the State Department called on all U.S. citizens to leave the country immediately due to security concerns. The scheduled deportation flight, the second to Haiti this month, left Alexandria, Louisiana, shortly before 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And is scheduled to land in Port-au-Prince shortly after at 11 a.m. They said those two, quote, cannot happen at the same time. You cannot be evacuating people and deporting people at the same time. Said this is beyond inhumane. It is definitely a violation against human rights. It says Gerline Joseph is the executive director of the Haitian Bridge Alliance. Now, the question I have is we have a lot of people from the Caribbean and also Haitians that are in government, part of Congressional Black Caucus. Why aren't you screaming and yelling at Biden for this? Oh, I forgot. Because you have the attitude, well, shoot, man, I'm over here. I'm not saying nothing. Forget my brothers and sisters in Haiti. I mean, that's them. I got over here. They better do what they can to get over here themselves. I mean, that is utterly despicable. While Biden just made almost 500,000 Venezuelans legal through temporary protected status, almost 500,000. He is getting Haitians out of here. Let's continue. According to the unconfirmed reports, Wednesday, the flight was scheduled to depart with more than 60 Haitians on board. Though advocates have been sharply critical, of the Biden administration's policy of parading deportee, they said perp walks. ICE has continued to distribute the footage. And human rights advocates are baffled over many elements of the administration's policies toward Haiti. From its support for the current regime to current and continued deportations to a country in chaos. So he's say, you know what? I'm getting them out of here. I don't care nothing about Haitians. They gone. Everybody else that's not Haitian, they can stay. You understand what I'm saying? Now, they have been also deporting Africans too. Not as numerous as Haiti, but they have been deporting Africans. So clearly, what they're trying to do here is boost up the white numbers and trying to use Latin America to do it. Because when they come here on paperwork, they put them as whites. We talked about this. And in the white world, they good and well don't say they white, but on paper they do. Why they do that? If you put them as white on paper, even though their numbers are getting smaller, they still can have all the representation in Congress. They can still have the majority of the power. So they'll be running the country like apartheid South Africa, where they're the minority and yet they're running everything. They hold the wealth. They control all the power, just like apartheid South Africa. This is the play that they're doing with bringing in people from Latin America and calling them white. Because see, on paper, as long as they're called white, they're considered, hey, white people's the most in this country. And that's why they need all the senators and they need all the Congress people, because they're the majority, right? It's all a finesse and a scam, because you're scamming. Because in my opinion, Hispanics, Latinos need their own protected group, their own label, because that's who they are. They're Latinos. For them to say, well, Hispanics not a race. Why? Why aren't they a race? They are a race of people to me. So what, you discounting them and calling them white? That doesn't make sense. You can't even get an accurate count in this country unless everybody has their own label. Hispanics need their label. Arabs need a label. East Indians need a label. Everybody need their label as a particular race instead of throwing them all over the place, right? But this is the game that the white supremacists is playing so they can act like apartheid South Africa. So let's continue. They say what's unconscionable is that the U.S. is propping up the illegitimate and abhorrent regime which is responsible for the hellish conditions as the Haitians endure every day. Now, they're doing this because that's their puppets. You understand what I'm saying? Every time that you have a leader in Haiti or even the history of Latin America, you had leaders that say, nah, I'm not going along with y'all BS. Something happens, a coup, or he's taken out or whatever. You always got to bend the knee to the white supremacists on this side of the hemisphere. A lot of leaders, a lot of times, can go a lot longer when they're on the other side of the world, right? Because the global majority is really on the other side of the world. Now, that person was a Stephen Forrester, immigration policy coordinator at the Institute for Justice and Democracy in Haiti. Now, they continue to say the Biden administration hit a sad and stunning milestone and say aboard its 198th flight deporting people or expelling people to Haiti. It said this morning with the 20,000th migrant sent back to the Caribbean nation since Inauguration Day 2021. And so according to witnesses at the border, a group that tracks U.S. government expulsion and deportation flights, 161 of those 198 planes carrying 17,900 people have flown in just the 5 months since September 19th. It said that was when over 10,000 mostly Haitian migrants appeared on the banks of the Rio Grande in Del Rio, Texas, asking for asylum and other forms of protections. It said we all recall the troubling images of Border Patrol agents mounted on horseback charging at the Haitian migrants waiting across the river. Though President Biden called it horrible, and Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas said that an investigation would be completed in days. It said not in weeks. It said they heard no results on accountability. What has worked with devastating efficiency, though, are the flights. It said the Department of Homeland Security gave a $15 million no-bid contract to Geo Group, a very controversial for-profit migrant detention center operator, to manage the first flights to Port-au-Prince and Cap Haitian. It said the pace, of expulsion flights has remained very rapid. They said DHS expelled 13,783 Haitians apprehended at the U.S.-Mexico border without giving them a chance for protection. Now, look at that. So everybody else can show up from Venezuela, El Salvador, Nicaragua, Guatemala, Mexico, wherever they showing up from, right? They can get protections, but the black folks that speak Creole, they can't get protections at all. They came the same way as the other people. It worked for them. Y'all have to understand, Biden is a racist. He always have been. And why is it that black folks thought he would just change? Listen, Biden in the 90s was older then. Why you think he would change his tune in his 80s? Come on now. Only thing he's a little bit more smarter on how he say things, but listen to him. He called LL Cool J a boy. Listen, people that don't speak that way, it don't come out of them, whether they're angry, upset, even drunk. If they don't call black people boys or the N-word or whatever the case may be, it don't come out. but yet he do call black men boys. Now, this guy has a policy, and you remember when he told the civil rights bootlicks that you guys gonna have to work with the Hispanics because there's more of them in this country than y'all in raw numbers. Well, he was telling you the plan. The plan was flood the zone with them, but no black folks. You can't flood the zone with black people. Don't you do that. Now, so this is ridiculous. And you black people that support Biden that come over here so upset with me when I talk about this guy, please give an account for this. Because in the minds of this white supremacist, he don't care if they speak Creole or if they black American. He don't care. He don't want black folks here. And he don't want to deal with the black folks that's in this country, who is descendants of slaves. Remember, Biden is a descendant of slave masters. 2 of his family members owned slaves when they broke that down. So he's a descendant of a slave master, just like we are the descendants of slaves. You understand? So you're going to the descendant of a slave master, telling him to treat us right and voting for him. This is what black folks are doing. Shame on black folk for giving your vote to that man who has had a documented history of attacking, putting down, and destroying the black family. Joe Biden did worse to the black community than even J. Edgar Hoover has done to the black community. Because J. Edgar Hoover, yes, he was definitely responsible for taking out a lot of our greats. Yes, he was, and putting them in jail. But Joe Biden was responsible for mass incarcerating black people wholesale. And his own son was a crackhead. How come his law didn't put his own son in jail? It's videos out there of his son being a straight crackhead. Sitting up here buying women, practicing human trafficking, all kind of things. His son is a freaking criminal. It's quite funny that you wanted black folks in jail, but you don't want your son in jail. That's interesting. So he's deporting Haitians while everybody else had come in, right? Just remember that. So between March 2020 and December 2021, nearly a quarter of all Haitians apprehended at the border have been placed on planes. And say of those expelled, just over half have been children or parents traveling with children. And say adults are routinely shackled at the waist and wrist for the duration of the flights. So hold on. So Biden has instructed ICE and everybody else to shackle Haitians from the wrist and waist. But these other people that come in here, you never see them in shackles at all. They free to roam. They free roaming in Chicago. They roaming in New York. They broke laws, a lot of them, to come here. The Venezuelans just got a legal status just the other day. So prior to that, they was in here illegally. And none of them was in handcuffs. Biden didn't have handcuffs for them, but he got handcuffs for the black people. So you got women who are mothers that are shackled like this. Just imagine this. You a Haitian person, you thinking you can get in this country for a better life, right? When you know the U.S. caused the destruction of your nation. We covered on the African Diaspora News Channel about the occupation of Haiti back in 1915, how they stole all the gold from Haiti and resources from Haiti, right? Took out their leader and their revolutionary people, passed out leaflets of the man's dead body to scare people, the same old slavery tactic, taking their wealth away. Then after 20 years, putting in a puppet leader and leaving. So they basically just controlling the country through a black puppet leader. And that's been their policy globally for the Caribbean, African nations, Latin America for sure. Puppet leaders. And if they ever have a leader rise up that want to do right for their people, want to fight for their homeland, they get them on out of there. So as a Haitian person, you watching everybody coming over here who don't look like you, but everybody else can come over here, right? But yet they got some shackles waiting for you. Now, let's check this out. And I quote, it said, a Haitian mother expelled in late September 2021 begged U.S. officers to remove her handcuffs to enable her to comfort her crying young daughter on the plane. to no avail, according to a Human Rights First account. So you seeing all these other women from Latin America coming with 3-4 kids in tow, breaking the law. None of those women are in handcuffs. But the black women are getting put in handcuffs and sent back to Haiti. And this is the person that you black people voted for. You said you had to get Trump out, right? Fine. Biden is nothing like Trump. He's worse than Trump. Oh, he put kids in cages. He did this and that and the third. Right? But look what's happening to Haitians. And a lot of that was propaganda anyway, because Obama did the same thing as well. So Biden has criminalized Haitians, any other Africans, black people that come over. They let a few over, because they let a few here and there over. Because, see, this is what the white supremacists do. Oh, they're going to deport the majority, but they'll let a few over. They'll let a few, just so you can say, see, I'm not just deporting them. Look, there's some Haitians right here. There are some Africans here. What are you talking about? But the majority are not staying here like these others. Now, case in point, let's go back to MC Lyte. You remember she had made that post defending this man who don't like black people, because he don't. No matter what fakery he's doing, because the Democrats have learned the fake with y'all. Because if they really liked you like that, they would do for you. So that same man that's deporting all these Haitians on out of here, it's the same man you go and ask, do this for me, do that for me. He not going to do nothing for you because he don't like you. He don't like me either, right? So MC Lyte posted that message, and she turned her comments off because people are flaming her on her Instagram page. Well, MC Lyte had actually defended Biden from calling LL Cool J a boy. Yes. Listen, you have to be so low to defend Biden, a white man who was a friend of Strom Thurmond, the man that has ties to the Klan, right? This man who had filibustered to block civil rights legislation for black people for over 24 hours. 24 hours he stood up to filibuster because he didn't want black people to have any kind of civil rights in this country. That was Biden's homeboy. That was his, right? But MC Lyte wants to defend this man. Let's put up what she said on her Instagram post that she turned the comments off as well. As you can see, she said, "Thank you to all my brothers and sisters for your love and your warm embrace as we celebrate the 50th anniversary of hip hop. First, I want to say I have nothing but respect, love, and admiration for my big brother, LL Cool J. I say, for being a pioneer in this business, for helping me write some of my iconic rhymes, and for inviting me to be a part of this tribute. It said during the Kennedy Center honors, a high-ranking achievement which has only been bestowed to one hip-hop artist to date. It said, to the GOAT, LL Cool J. I will forever thank, honor, and love him." Now, I'm going to thank, honor, and love a person. Let's go ahead and read next. In regard to the recent occurrence during the Congressional Black Caucus Phoenix Awards, while I do not condone any disrespect of any kind, especially to a black man we all love and hold in high regard, I must say I was actually there. And I do not believe President Biden's comments were malintended. He made a mistake. A mistake I'm sure he regrets. Did Biden say that himself, that he made a mistake and that he regrets that? No. So once again, and it's so sad. It's sad that MC Lyte is going out like this. Oh, it's so sad. Because, you know, she is one of the female greats of hip hop. And for her to be going out like this is just so sad. To me, that sounds like, well, Massa didn't intend to beat you that bad. I'm sure Massa made a mistake on that. You know what I'm saying? It's given that, right? How do you sit up here and defend that? But she made sure to turn the comments off. Then she says, one of my most fond memories is that of being in the presence of my elders when they make a mistake with a name, sometimes even my own. She doubles down on the defense of Biden, who get black immigrants out of here with the quickness. Biden, who relished in putting people in jail and breaking up families. That Biden himself, right? This is who she's defending. She says, I pray that we will pay more attention to the historic importance of this moment than the errors that were made in it. Jesus Christ. What we should all spend time focusing on is this. For the first time in history, both the president and vice president of the United States together have acknowledged, embraced, and publicly shown their love and appreciation for a monumental achievement in hip hop. Let's try to keep showing each other love and grace. Long live hip hop. Oh, MC Lyte, sister. No. This is not it. This is not it. Let me tell you something. There are times in your life where there are pivotal moments, and those moments can shape your destiny, change people's opinion about you, good or bad. Some of these moments can determine if you're going to rise higher or you're going to sink down to the ground. You understand what I'm saying? And MC Lyte had a chance to respect her brother because she's not respecting her brother. You say that he wrote rhymes for you, and you know good and well the racism that your brother and yourself dealt with in the music industry. And you should have defended your brother at that moment. You don't put words in the mouth of someone that didn't even say it. How many times have we seen black people do this, even when the race soldiers end up killing a black person? Well, I don't think he meant it that way, or I know he made a mistake, or I forgive you. You understand the years, and we just got so tired of it. We say, man, we hear a family say that, we done with the case. We don't want to know nothing about it. We good. But MC Lyte had a chance to defend her brother, and she chose not to. She chose to defend Biden and uphold his racism. Let me tell you something. You can't have a unified front on Biden when you have people like MC Lyte is defending what we all know is clearly racist behavior. Calling a black man a boy. We know that's a no-no. We know this. And yet she still defends it anyway, but she shut her comments off. If you truly felt that way, MC Lyte, why did you shut your comments off? You couldn't take people disagreeing with that. You couldn't take people checking you. And I will say this, MC Lyte, the decision you made, I really believe is going to affect your standing with the community. And I hope it affects your future shows. Because one thing that we're not going to do in this community is accept anyone defending disrespect. Other groups of people don't do this. Why are we the only group of people who want to defend and make excuses for disrespect? And also the Congressional Black Caucus said nothing. It don't matter what happens to black people. They are quiet as a mouse. Look at what happened in Jacksonville to those black people. Congressional Black Caucus was silent. Look what happened in Buffalo. Congressional Black Caucus was silent. They always silent and not saying nothing what happens to black people. They come out later when they are told it's okay to say this and that and the third, then go say that. That is sad. What is the point of a Congressional Black Caucus and they don't speak up for us and they don't defend us? We're on our own. But the other caucuses on the Hill speak up for their people. They fight and advocate for laws. The Congressional Asian Caucus, the AAPI caucus, they fought and wanted a hate crime bill that the Congressional Black Caucus all voted for. So you vote for Asians to have protection, but yet the people that needed protection forever, you don't go vote and you don't say, see, everything else is black and brown, black and LGBT, black and indigenous, black and everything else. But when other groups get something, it's just them. Nobody want to add black. That was the time to add black. You should have said black and Asian at that time, right? You didn't do this. I have no respect for the Congressional Black Caucus at all, because the majority of them don't even want to talk to us anyway. Let's call it what it is, because they don't want to answer the real questions. They don't want to be confronted. And I love what those sisters did to Jamie Harrison, and y'all need to continue to do that with these black Democrat politicians coming in our towns, our cities, talking, and then they're not doing anything for black people. All this money going to Ukraine, they vote for that too. These Congressional Black Caucus members, they are just as responsible as the rest of the Democrats. Biden has had no pushback. And my issue with this situation too, also is not just them, it's black folk. Because since he got a D in front of his name, he can get away with that. But if he had an R in front of his name, it'll be outrage, hell to pay. And this is what I don't understand about y'all. How is it that you sit up here and say it's racism from the Republican, but when the Democrat, you make excuse, it was a mistake. Oh, he didn't mean it that way. Oh, what? For me, disrespect is disrespect. I don't care where it come from, what political party it come from, what community it comes from, what gender it comes from. I don't care. Disrespect is disrespect. And I'm going to have the same response to the disrespect as anyone else should. But you in the black community, just because he got a Democrat in front of his name, it's okay for you to be disrespecting a boy? Really? Now imagine Ron DeSantis has said that, or Trump has said that. One of them, that's them two. Imagine that. Y'all would have been acting a fool. You remember when DeSantis had said about Andrew Gillum, about him monkeying around, and how black folks went crazy about him saying monkeying around, in which they should have went at him because that was freaking wrong. You don't say monkeying around, right? But if Biden would have said monkeying around, you'd have been like, what'd he say? I didn't hear that. I didn't see that, even though you saw it. I didn't see that. Oh, really? He said that? Oh, well, he just made a mistake. He don't know no better, right? That is so sickening because you're really not against racism. You're not, because if it really was, it don't matter where it comes from. So it is very sad that MC Lyte is going out like this. It's very sad. MC Lyte, you know the temperature is different, sister. That's why you're turning them comments off. You got so much in your feelings that people was right, because they were right about you. Listen, you can't hide on the internet forever, because one thing about people, you can post about something else and they'll still bring that right back up. So I guess you might well leave your comments off for a while after posting these things. That is sad that you will sit up there and defend Biden or to say this about supposedly a brother of yours that you love and honor. I don't want no love and honor from anybody that think it's okay to disrespect me like that. You're not looking out for me, right? And also at the same time, LL Cool J didn't come out and say nothing either. It's like, I don't want to listen. If I gotta be quiet at being disrespected, to have certain levels of access, to have whatever I'm trying to do, I don't want it. I'd rather have whatever I have with my respect and my dignity than to have 100 or 1,000 times more than what I have today, and I gotta put up with that sort of thing. I'm sorry. To me, that's not being a man. That's not being a human being. I should be respected at all times. So this is the level that black folks sink to not only defend Biden, a guy who is clearly targeting black immigrants, to get they behind on out of here. But this is the guy that a lot of you tell me I'm wrong about. You tell me I'm wrong. But if I'm wrong, you explain that to me, how he can make almost 500,000 Venezuelans legal, but he got plenty of planes ready to go, chaining up mothers, can't even console their children, but the other ones coming over with 3-4 kids in tow, and nobody saying nothing to them. They showing up in New York, they're showing up in Chicago every day, in the bus loads. They're showing up in Texas, Arizona, in the bus loads, right? Coming over. They being assisted to come over. There has been video of federal agents on the border making sure they get through. No different than what happened at January the 6th. We've seen that more than once, where they just move barriers and everything, just let them on in. It's a plan, folks. It's definitely a plan. But let me know what y'all think about this. Like I said, if I'm wrong, let me know. Maybe you think what Biden said about LL Cool J is not that bad. The Haitians being deported, but not the others. Like I said, explain to me how this man is going to really help black people. And because I don't see it happening. This man can't stand black people, and he's always had a history of not liking black people.